I love the look of resin over a finished collage piece, but resin is both expensive and it's also something that takes a lot of time and you need the exact right conditions. So I was really thrilled to find this product. Diamond Glaze is a dimensional adhesive, and Mod Podge also makes a version called Dimensional Magic. They both will work the same, and what it's going to do is create a crystal clear domed covering for some collage pieces. Hi everybody, it's Kelly from Collage-Lab, and I've got some mixed media March minis for you. We're going to put them onto objects, flat objects. So this I've glued a little collage onto a washer. This is on a little tag. This is on a little wooden heart. And this is on a little wooden triangle. And what we're going to do is, step one is you want to make sure that your surface is level. I'm putting these onto a styrofoam plate because it's going to take a while for them to dry and I might want to move them. But in order to make sure my surface is level, handy trick if you've got an iPhone, there is an app. The measuring app has a measure and a level. And so when you set this on your work surface, it will tell you when your surface is level. So right about there. So what I'm doing with my paper plate now is I'm going to stick some paper underneath it to keep it level. All right, so that didn't work because the paper went up. Let me do this again. Just see if we can get it. There we go, right like that. So my plate is level. These are glued down. I put them down with matte medium and they're ready to go. The key to using the dimensional glaze is surface tension. And so we're going to apply this on top of each of these objects and keep putting more on until it gets right to the edge but doesn't go over. If you want to play with surface tension, you can take a penny or a coin and put water droplets on it, and you can add a bunch of water droplets, and then at one point your surface tension will break and all the water will fall off. But until your surface tension breaks, you're good. So I'm going to take the Diamond Glaze and I'm just going to start slowly applying it. And I'm going to slowly apply it. We'll come back in and try to get all of the little bubbles out because you don't want the bubbles. You might be able to pop the bubbles with the tip of the applicator. But just keep adding. It'll run right to the edge. And you want it to run to the edge, whoops, of all of these. Now, this is where it's so much better than resin. So when we mess up, while it's dry, or before it's cured, we can wipe that away. And I'm thinking that I'm not quite level because of the weight of these pieces. So let me try this again, wiping it away where it's wet. And then we'll just continue to add drops and poke out the little bubbles, if you see bubbles. This one will be a little bit easier because that metal ring on this keychain or key ring is a little bit of a lip. So I think the glaze will stop right when it gets there. Oops, too much, too much. Again, like I said, this is easy to clean up. If you get too much, you can let it drip off the side. Clean it up. Make sure you're working though on a non-stick kind of surface. So if it does stick a little bit, once it cures, you'll be able to fix it. This seems kind of slow and tedious because I'm working on something so small. Okay, that is not level. Okay, more paper towels. This does clean up with soap and water, so if you get it on your hands, you're okay. All right. I think it's because my styrofoam plate is kind of bendy. I think I'm going to rethink this. Pull out some freezer paper, which I know is non-stick. I'm going to do this on the freezer paper, so just excuse me for a minute while I reset up and place these pieces that already have the glaze on them. Yes, I think this is a better option. On the non-stick freezer paper. There we go. So we'll finish this one up. It may look a little milky when you start, but it will dry crystal clear. And just pop those bubbles out. If you can pop them out with the tip of the applicator, that's the easiest way. Or you can go in with a pin. If I had a pin. Got very pointy little tweezers. Pop those air bubbles if you can. Even, what am I saying? Even a toothpick. There we go. Get those air bubbles out of there. This one is larger, but same principle. So I'm going to go around the triangle, fill in the center, and then let it start flowing to the edge. Until it gets all the way to the edge. If it does flow over the sides a little bit, that's okay. We'll fix that once it's cured. That's an easy fix. Just trying to get the bubbles out. And then on my little heart-shaped one, get those bubbles. There we go. And if your surface is level, this should go right up to the edge. Just apply it slowly till it gets to the edge. Pop your bubbles. And then let it dry. You're going to want this to dry at least overnight. So leave it flat and come back and check it very carefully. This one is not level. All right. Just going to keep it from sitting in a pool of it. But this is very forgiving. So we'll fix these up tomorrow after they have cured overnight. So these little guys have cured and dried for 24 hours about, and I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. You can see maybe a little bubble in there. This one, it did come over the side a little bit. And let's see about this one. This one stayed on top. If you do have a bit of the Diamond Glaze coming over the side, you can take an emery board and lightly sand it off once it's hardened. So you can get it off when it's still wet with just a damp paper towel, but once it's hardened, you can see there's a little bit here. You can get that off usually with an emery board. Easy peasy. So now that I've got these wonderful little things, and you can see that the dimensional glaze is kind of domed over the top, and even though I had some issues with how level my surface was, I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. So I'm going to put this little one into my mixed media March mini for today, and I'm going to add a little extra with the dimensional glaze. So I've cut another image out that this gal came from, and because she's on something hard, I'm going to use something a little stronger than my matte medium or my glue stick. I'm going to just use clear tacky glue and put her down onto my index card divider. And I like how that looks. I'm going to add a little extra to this, and so I just cut a little window out of corrugated cardboard, and I'm going to put a little window around this other gal, and again I'm going to use the tacky glue to hold that down. I'm going to spread this around because I do not want anything to seep under this. So I want to make sure that the glue goes all the way to the inside and outside edges. I'm going to go ahead and set that down as like a little mini frame over this girl. And just give that a second to set. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Diamond Glaze again inside of this container. And so it'll come up to the level of the cardboard. And again, I'm going to try to keep it from bubbling. As it goes in there, it is a milky appearance, but it will dry clear. Little bubbles I can usually poke out with the tip of the bottle. If not, if you've got something pointy, you can get those little air bubbles out. I'm just grabbing them with the tweezers because I got pointy tweezers, but just trying to get all those little air bubbles. Or a pin or a needle, something like that. Get those little guys out of there. Or move them to the side so they're not so noticeable. Do I have a pin? Probably don't have one handy here. But that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to let the Diamond Glaze dry, it will become crystal clear and smooth, and then I'll show you exactly how that turned out.